So I grew up in a black church, and so for me, what that means many things. Let's be clear, but I grew up understanding the power of call and response, right? So for those of you who don't know the power of call and response, or are even familiar with it, let me give you an example. If the pastor says God is good, then people say what? All right, here we have it. Okay, so we're good. That said, there will be some moments in this brief moment of me talking that there will be some call and response, okay? Um, Everyone say faith. What is faith? I remember growing up in North New Jersey and my eighth grade teacher who at St. Rosalima Catholic School, who was a staunch believer. I felt actually like she taught more religion than anything. But she used to say all the time, she taught us in eighth grade, faith is the substance of things hoped for, evidence of things not seen. Faith is the substance of things hoped for, evidence of things not seen. Funny enough, I took that with me all through eighth grade, all through high school, college, but I didn't start living a life of faith truly, even though I grew up in the church, or really testing what faith was until I started my company in 2010. Journey with me, though, just briefly, as I share with you the faith and the foundation of my faith as a founder. In 2010, at the age of 24, I remember like it was yesterday, I founded Reserv Concierge, this corporate concierge service that specialized in gifting and all of these cool things, events for corporate clients. I remember living in Harlem and excited, eager, and ready to start this business, cold calling and emailing daily, right? Hopping on the 3 train from Harlem to Midtown to share with my clients what it is that I was doing. I remember thinking to myself, like, I'm going to definitely secure some business, right? And we all know as founders what happens after the first few months, after the first few emails that come through from people saying, we can't wait to support you. We're so excited that you started this business. We're going to bring you business. Truth is, a few months went by. I kept looking at the phone, kept refreshing the email, not much coming through, right? But then even at that moment, realized I was like, okay, hold up. Quickly, I realized if I was going to succeed at this entrepreneurial journey, I was going to need something. I was going to need something that would calm my worries when I knew that I needed to call my landlord in the morning and say, yet again, I don't have the rent. I knew I was going to need something that was going to sustain me when my pockets were empty, when my confidence was low, and when my fear was at an all-time high. I was going to need something. What was that? Say it with me, y'all. Faith. I knew I was going to need faith. Fast forward, although 2010, I realized I was going to need faith, but not only that, although things, started to change, some business came in, I would be a liar if I said it got easier. It actually got harder. I found myself, now I'm facing one of my biggest fears. I wasn't going to move home back to Jersey because truth was I could no longer pay the rent. I was in arrears. And I remember thinking to myself, I got to go back to Jersey with my mama, who I love dearly. This is definitely a setback. I had been away from home for 12 years now, with college and living on my own in Harlem, and I have to go back. And what does that look like to my peers? Some mornings, y'all, I would wake up, I would hear my mother on the phone gossiping with my aunt or her friends saying, he says he's an entrepreneur. Child, I don't know what he's doing. Imagine that wake-up call, right? I was like, okay, that's an alarm clock for you. So I found her sharing, we'll see what he's doing, let's see, right? 2016 to 2019, still at home with my mother. 2019, things started to change. Business started to come in. I was able to secure some great accounts. I started to feel like, there's a bright hope somewhere, right? 2020, we all know what happens, right? I'm headed earlier that year in February, right before the pandemic, to Australia. I go there with the hopes of exploring and seeing an actual sporting event that I was already working with a client. I was planning to do more business with them in 2020, and obviously the pandemic happens. But there was something about that faith. Throughout the year 2020, immediately I started to question myself and say, am I supposed to do this still? Am I going to continue to keep the business? And a dear friend of mine said, I don't know if it's time for you to give up. And that's important, y'all. That's a lesson, because sometimes it's not us who have faith in ourselves, but it's our tribe. This church, I don't know if it's time, she said, for you to give up. I think there's more in store for you. So 2021 rolls around, and I find myself saying, okay, well, business is still kind of slow, but what am I going to do now? While it's slow, I'm still going to keep the business, but I'm going to actually pursue my creative passion. I want to write a children's book. So I decide to write a children's book. Now, what I was very clear about was I could not write this book at my mama's house where I would hear her in the morning talking about me, right? I needed to go someplace where I can be inspired, where I can feel motivated and feel creative. All roads led me to New Orleans with the bag of what? Faith. I got to New Orleans in 2021, still uncertain about the business, but that same year, I decided to have faith and move past and close the door on a client that I thought was my biggest client. Faith told me to say, like, you know what, it's okay. You can release them because they didn't know my worth, they didn't value my worth. That same year, I kept moving with faith. Fast forward to 2022. When I closed the door and said no thank you to one client, but I had faith in my future, another client came and gave me triple what I ever thought I could receive as a business owner. And I think to myself now, where would I be if it wasn't for faith? Faith has sustained me. Faith has kept me. Faith has motivated me. And faith has made me realize that no matter what I currently see, there's something beyond that. There's a hope for beyond that. So, with 2 minutes and 58 seconds left to go, 56, I want to do something. We got a little call and response, okay? I want to share with you all, I came up with affirmation. That same friend who told me to keep going, she shared with me in college, sophomore year, a book by Florence Scovel called The Game of Life. Your word is your wand. And so my first time, I was like, affirmation? What? I grew up in the Baptist church. I don't know what affirmations, but I come to learn that the Bible is a book of affirmations for me. And so I now write them, and I'm going to leave you with this, but could we say it together? Now I'm going to say it, and you repeat it because it's kind of small. I embody faith in action. And I am faithful to my calling. No matter what, I have confidence in myself and my future. My faith moves mountains and opens new doors. It reassures me that all is well when I'm uncertain. And it calms me when I'm fearful. Gratefully, I let my faith work for me. And I let it be. And so it is. Thank you all. Thank you.